Good morning and welcome to What's New with Mike and Jeff, your Saturday morning hobby hangout coming to you live, believe it or not, via the interwebs. I'm your host, Mike, and with me is Jeff. Good morning, David.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. So we'll start by saying, last week was just one of those computer phenomenons that happen every once in a while in life. You have no control over computers. They control us. AI is taking over the world. We are all going to be doomed and destroyed by machines. I don't know what happened last week. Last week was a first for Jeff and I.
Yeah.
When we went to go live, StreamYard wouldn't let us go live. StreamYard was literally just saying there wasn't enough resources to go live.
Yep.
Which meant we couldn't get like a spot. Maybe they were doing maintenance on servers.
They kept saying, try again in 30 to 60 seconds, and we kept trying. And then we finally, after we canceled the show, we tried one more time and got in. That's why you got that little 1 minute.
Yeah, so it's outside the control of us. So we just kind of flex and adjusted, and we're back. And today it worked. Everything worked. So.
Well, we weren't sure there for a minute. It kind of took a while to get in.
I was getting the spinning wheel. I was like, oh no, is it going to go live? Is it going to go live? Is it going to go live? And then it went live, and then everything was.
I got a weird message though when I logged out. I got a message from Facebook, basically saying, explaining the rules to be allowed to live stream on Facebook.
Yes, they changed their rules for allowing. Now we meet the rules. Good morning, Joe. The rules are really like you got to have 100 subscribers, and yet they're just trying to get away from people. Just hey, I'm gonna go open the Facebook page and start live streaming.
Right.
You've got to build some following.
What it prompted me to do was I thought, well, maybe we don't stream to Old Wolf Studios anymore. But I didn't remember that at first. So I went and checked, and then I realized I had like 3,500 followers. I'm like, oh,
yeah. And I don't know.
Maybe it was 2,500.
I don't know what our Facebook has for followers. I don't really check it.
Obviously, it has more than 100.
Yes, obviously we have more than 100. So,
right.
Anywho, it's good to be back. It's good to be live. Today is free RPG day. So if you are into RPGs, check your local stores to see if they've got any events planned. We know our favorite store. You are world famous. Oh, thanks, David. We know our favorite store, Imperial Outpost Gaming, is hosting a lot for free RPG day. There are some we'll call them seminars or classes or instructional things taking place. There's a lot of games taking place. The shop will be busy with RPG games going on. And just when they say it's free RPG day, I don't know if people realize, no, the shops have to pay for this stuff. It's not free. So good morning, Ray. Oh, hi, Kaya Ray. Sorry.
I call Ray. He's a Votan.
Joe, please pray for me. It's going to be a long day. What time are you going in, Joe? Please answer that, because I'm going to be down there at 10 o'clock because I am going to venture out of my home and go to a shop on a Saturday.
What?
Yes, Andy has let loose the clip on my collar, and it's going to let me leave. No.
I think she's using one of those retractable, extendable leashes. I don't think
she's going to pull me.
There's going to be a tug about 3 o'clock.
There you go. So, Joe, you're going in before opening. Very cool. So there's going to be games going on. A lot of people running RPGs. and won't leave till close. Woo, Joe's got a long day. I got you, Joe. It's gonna be a long day, buddy. Because what time do they close? Like, is it still midnight or is it 10? Because it's Saturday. And David's saying he's going to be there for Cyberpunk. That was going to be my next thing. Joe, I think, is teaching 10 o'clock. I think Joe is doing demos of Cyberpunk at the shop this weekend. So if you are interested in the Cyberpunk game, I believe Joe is going to be running some demos. So there's going to be a lot going on at the shop today. So kind of excited. Then I'm meeting up.
Kind of cool.
And we are going to venture out and go have some lunch. But as speaking of Blaine and I don't know Blaine. I probably know Blaine. I know faces. I don't know names. As we know from anytime I try to get quizzed about a TV show or movie, it's like, the one guy, the person, that person.
One guy that looks like the guy on the show.
It looks like the show guy. I talk in generalities. So, but speaking of RPGs, I am going to be playing an indie RPG next week that I think is something you and I should talk about.
Oh, is it a solo or are you actually getting a group together?
Well, it's I don't play with people.
Okay, I was going to make sure I didn't want my world to turn upside down quite that much.
But it is an RPG that was written for one person to run the campaign in one player. So it's just a one-player game.
Right.
It's called Wizard Van. It's an indie RPG. It's not really a rules system for an RPG. It is more of concepts. It's just broad concepts, and it's really about you sitting down with your friend and good morning, Victor.
Morning, Victor.
And talking really about music. So the basic premise of Wizard Van is you are at your favorite band's concert. So you have to pick your favorite band. I'm already kind of drawing an image of what band you're going to pick. It has something to do with electricity. Anyways.
Alternating current or direct.
So then you, while the band's taking a break, you step out. There's a dude in a van with an airbrush of a wizard on the side. And he sees you and you see, you ever go to a concert, like people that know, like you get this look, like people that are dedicated fans. And there's that look. And you're drawn to the van. He asks for a light. You give him a lighter. You go into this van, and then concert's going again. You step out, and then you're in an alternate world. It is a sci-fi, fantasy, psychedelic world that you've entered into, and all you have is your axe, which is a guitar or bass in my case. And you're either playing a magic user or a metal person. Jeff, just say here's some. But the cool thing, and the reason I say this is a concept game is because the concept is you're pulling your inspiration from album covers and the music itself. So one of the things is you have the music playing in the background, and you can, if you're a magic user, you literally pull from the lyrics to say your magic. Like that's your magic, like your spells. That's how you cast your spells. Is from the lyrics. It's just a really cool concept because I just like the idea of pulling from the music album covers is just inspiring because like those are who you're going to fight against, and they're really like you should pull from bands from like the 70s and earlier because something changed in the 80s with album covers. They just weren't the same. As they were back in the day. Some bands still did it, but a lot of bands kind of, I don't know, just got a little bit cheaper later in life. But like when you start thinking back of bands like Molly Hatchet and how they used Frank Frazetta's art on the covers of their albums, and Black Sabbath had some really creative album covers back in the day. Zeppelin had some really cool stuff. So it's just that I'm going to go with Motorhead. Like, I think Lemmy kind of feels that space of time because he roadied for Hendrix. He was in a psychedelic band back in the day. Then he formed, it was Hawkwind, and then he formed Motorhead when he got kicked out of there because he did too many drugs. Hawkwind was a very...
Funny you should mention Molly Hatchet because I did. Molly Hatchet's my second favorite band.
Okay.
And I literally went on to kind of decompress yesterday. I went on a long evening bike ride to some of my favorite Molly Hatchet tunes.
Ah, yeah. Yes, and their album covers were obviously, in my opinion, some of the best.
Oh, they're fantastic. The other one I like a lot is Nazareth Hair the Dog.
Oh yeah,
that's a great cover.
Oh yeah,
but I'm nowhere near as versed in music as you are. So,
but you do have to pick one band because that's going to be your focus. And I'm going, like I said, I'm going Motorhead because of Snaggletooth, or what he's actually known as War Pig or Snaggletooth.
Right,
two different names. That's their mascot. And I think I can pull enough from that. I'm also going to supplement because I don't do psychedelic well.
Right.
It's not my genre per se. So I'm going to use Brahms artwork to supplement kind of my encounters and just to help me with the visual cues for the game. So anyways, I just thought it was fun. But for RPG Day, that is something I am going to be playing.
That's cool.
I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to do the warrior, so I'm going to have some additional things bolted onto my body, kind of cybernetics type stuff. So it's like this weird sci-fi fantasy psychedelic
mixture. Sounds like a lot of fun.
So, yeah, be something different. But I figured you'd probably go AC/DC.
Yeah, ACD. I mean, if I thought about it, AC/DC or Molly Hatchet would be another option.
Yeah, AC/DC's album covers. Earlier were pretty cool.
Early on, they were really cool, yeah.
In the 80s, I think they kind of fit that. They didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it just kind of become more cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of did the same thing. So
I'm kind of, if I was going to do a modern band, I'd probably go Amon Amarth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Viking. It would be more Viking-esque because it's what their album covers are like. So,
well, I'm struggling right now, even though I do not own vinyl. The 50th anniversary of AC/DC album is out, and it's printed on gold vinyl.
Oh, dang!
And I'm like, that for no other reason, that just may look good framed and hanging on my wall.
And there are a lot of people that do that. If you watch Gorilla Miniatures, he has Stone Temple Pilots framed in on the wall. It's like a collector's album of Stone Temple Pilots, and that's something people do all the time.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's great.
But if you're out and about today, Meatloaf. Yes, I could pull a lot.
Yeah.
And Meatloaf doesn't have a lot of albums.
No.
But the few that he has are very cool album covers.
Right.
And the music, because you're going to be pulling from the music, you can pull a lot of Meatloaf songs.
Yeah. Well, his concerts are a little bit more. I mean, Styx was always more theatrical.
Yes.
Than a concert, and so was Meatloaf. Meatloaf is a little more theatrical. I used to like. Great.
Yeah. So good stuff. So yeah, if you're out and about today, swing on by, and if you're a local shop, if you're local to Phoenix, swing on by IOG. There are going to be giveaway things. Like I said, it's free RPG Day for the customers, but stores are the ones that are paying the price. So even if you go in and pick up a few things, do your usual, maybe look for some things to buy in the store, especially if you don't have time to stay for actual games.
And I have to say, I worked a couple, not anywhere near as many as Joe. They didn't have free RPG Day when free RPG Day in my day was called shoplifting. Well, then they organized. They're other than the Goblin game, that one that Phil and I that worked was like
everyone talking with Goblin voices.
Everybody had and first you're laughing because it's funny, but after 3 hours, it's like, and that was back when Darren had the table in the store.
Yeah.
And it was like, and Phil and I are like, we're gonna blow our brains out.
It's one of the there's an RPG I really love. It's called Dragonbane. It's by Free League, and one of the characters that you can play is a mallard, duck people.
Right.
And that is the one thing I'd be like, if I was playing with a group and someone talked like a duck the entire time, I probably would lose it.
Yeah. Now, in their defense, had I been sitting at that table, I would have had my own goblin voice. I would have participated wholeheartedly into it.
But when you're
not participating and you're just trying to sit there and get through your day, it's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so again, free stuff's going to be there, but please, understand that the shops are, paying to have product that they can give away. They're doing some giveaways. I think there's some gift cards that can be won and things like that.
That'd be
So,
awesome. It'll be a nice celebration.
yeah, it's just a nice way to celebrate RPGs. RPGs have grown tremendously over the years. There's a lot of popularity behind them nowadays. You also got D&D 1 coming out this year. I think that's what they're calling it, D&D 1 or 1 D&D. So there's a lot of buzz about that because they're doing the 50th anniversary stuff right now.
Right.
And regardless of what you think of Hasbro and Wizard and all that, it's still the culture. D&D is part of the fabric of the RPG world.
Yeah.
They are the biggest game on the market, just like Warhammer 40K is the biggest miniatures game, and Magic the Gathering is the biggest card game. They are part of the fabric, and it's just celebrated. And I think there's like some special came out last week or something like that. There's like a big thick tome of the original documentation from Gary Gygax on Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's his handwritten notes and all that kind of stuff, all put into a book. And it's like, to me, that's just an interesting document to look at. Don't have time for a game? Take a demo of Cyberpunk. There's Joe doing the sell. Yes, Joe will be doing some cyberpunking. I want to do a pumpkin now for Halloween that's cyberpunk. I want to put in like arms and bolts and nuts and do a cyberpunkin.
We are here at What's New with Mike and Jeff. Not only talk about what's new in our lives, but also we make new words.
We just make stuff up because, that's how the world works today. Outside of that, though, I just wanted to give the plug for what's going on today in communities across the land, because this is like Free Comic Book Day in a roundabout way. I don't know.
Well, I think Free RPG Day is a copy of Free Comic Book Day, or the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know which one came first.
I think Comic Book Day came first.
Which would make sense. It's comic book.
Yeah. I got a cool purchase in the mail this week.
Dude, you got the Artist Opus brushes.
Yeah, I've been having trouble finding my my Winsor Newton Series 7s. And
Comic Book Day came first.
Okay. And so I've been two reasons. First of all, my little image that Amos had commissioned for me. That's an Artist Opus brush. So I felt
obligated.
Just because it's on the sticker, I have to have it. And plus, I happened to be looking for brushes, so I finally bit the bullet and bought these.
And they're not cheap. Like
they're not cheap.
Now, are those Kolinsky?
They're Kolinsky Sable, and they're the S series brushes.
Okay.
So they're the signature series.
All right.
They come with their signature series brush soap.
Right.
And I didn't use them for a week.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I don't want to screw these up.
Now you're collecting paintbrushes?
No, I started using them this week.
Okay.
And I have to say, I'm happy I bought them.
Yeah, it's like $100 box set.
A little more than that.
Yeah.
I got it on sale at a really great shop online. And I'm really happy I bought them. They're good brushes.
Very cool. I'm excited for you. I can't wait for your full review on them. So what's interesting about paintbrushes, it's all about controlling the paintbrush.
Yeah.
And you are a heavy-handed painter, which creates a different level of control. It'll be interesting to see how they hold up to your side. I'm a very gentle painter. I'm very gentle to my paintbrushes, and I glide the bristles over the surface where you're like jam.
I treat my brushes like they're my arch nemesis.
So it'll be interesting to see how those hold up.
Well,
You've used Kolinsky before, so it shouldn't be that big of a difference.
Well, I use the Series 7 from Winsor Newton's, and the where I'm a little different is I'm more of a, I'm going to say fence painter.
Fence painter.
I don't have the delicate touch to get those fine lines with the tip
Right.
and do that kind of stuff. And so I'm that again, these brushes are prompt because um and because I've used the Winsor Newton so long, I don't treat them as delicately as I probably should
Yeah.
in cleaning and storing and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Spending this as a set and spending the money I spent has actually pulled me out of my habit comfort zone. So I'm being very like a lot of times I'll be painting and I'll get done. Oh, I'm gonna grab a bite to eat. I'll just throw the brush in the water and walk away and forget it. Which
Can't
is
do
bad.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's forcing me to kind of. I'm going no, no. I spent no.
Yeah.
So
Victor's commented free comic book day
yeah.
started in 2002 and RPG Day
I thought
07.
I thought comic book day came first.
So we chicken before the egg. We figured it out. Thank you, Victor. And we've got the answer. Another breaking ground, earth-shattering news.
Can't wait.
Atomic Mass Games decided to, I don't want to say end X-Wing and Armada, but they're just no longer going to produce for X-Wing and Armada, but they're still going to do some like organized play packs, and they're still going to.
Yeah, they're still going to support the community. They're just not going to generate any new product.
Which is it's saddish news. Like to me, it's no news because I'm like I don't play either one of those games.
Well, here one of the problems, not problems, but one of the things that they're up against is they literally compete against themselves. So yep. when they bring a new product out under that license, you're really cannibalizing a lot of your customer base from the previous items, from the previous game. And that it's not a huge number, but when you start, going down and trying to make the most out of because you pay a lot for your license.
Yeah.
It's a license, that game. You want to get the most out of it. So they produce a lot of stuff and the fans love it, but you do have a little bit of cannibalization from one game to the other. And that's a delicate situation. So you kind of find the one that does the best and move forward.
Victor's saying until 2025, then no more support for tourneys. That would make sense. So they're going to keep things alive. And again, X-Wing, when it came out, was a big splash on the market. It was a shift. First of all, they were pre-painted miniatures, and they were painted well. It wasn't.
They look good.
Like we've seen pre-painted miniatures before. The first company that I am recalling, big miniature company to make this kind of a shift, which bankrupted them, was they did what was it? Ragnarok?
Ragnarok?
No, it was the Rackham. They did the they had a sci-fi fantasy game, and they did something else, and then they came out pre-painted, and everything just kind of tanked for them after that. Oh my gosh, Confrontation. That was their game.
Oh yeah.
And I love
that game was so good I forgot
it. Well, I still have it.
But that was actually the game when I told you that when we went to a demo for it. Everyone was like, "You do this like in 40K. You do this like in 40K." And I kind of went, "Okay."
But the X-Wing did it right. The models were phenomenal. They were a great scale, even for just people to collect them. I gave the Millennium Falcon to my boss at one time as a gift because he's a big Star Wars nuts, and he just put it up on his mantle without he threw all the other stuff away.
I painted a TIE fighter. I hate the way my brain works now in my golden years.
Good morning, Darren. How are you, buddy?
Morning, D. But I painted a TIE fighter for someone to put on a dashboard of his car.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of custom painting from guys that played X-Wing at the shop. They really wanted. I did a ship that he wanted to look like a swing line red stapler.
Yes, Victor. ET-43. That was the sci-fi game, and yes, Darren, it is early for you.
It is very early.
It's late for me. Like I'm already ready for lunch.
You'd already been at work for 4 hours.
That was F. I don't know what Don's talking about, but I
have no idea.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is he saying there?
hit the
I
wrong
thought
key too early. But anyway, so it is unfortunate though that it's I hate to see games, really big games like that leave the market.
sure.
But it is like maybe it ran its course. Like there is a finite number of ships that they could make because it is a license. I think we talked about licensing before. This isn't a new conversation. You limit yourself to what you're allowed to do. Like where 40K can just out of the sky pull whatever they want and say, "Hey, here's a new battleship."
Right.
When you have that licensed IP, which is a very feverish fan base.
Well, and just the approval process is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you're doing any of the characters, in many circumstances, you've got to not only get the license holder's approval on if you're doing characters, you also got to get the person that represented that played that character, and it's a huge process.
Well, I Gamelin Games, when I was at Gen Con with them, Mike was in the process of doing the Game of Thrones Kickstarter and all the stuff that was going on. He was like, yeah, the image, they had to change the art in such a way that it looked nothing like the characters.
Right.
Close to, but not exactly, because otherwise they'd have to get permission from the artist, and that could just make it hard. And that's why sometimes you see such dramatic art changes when IP properties come out, because
Right.
some of the artists are like, no, you can't use my image.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
when I was at Battlefront, we did our first really big game was Spartacus,
Mhm.
and we were basically really excited about it, and we loved that game, and we wanted to do a commemorative edition for the actor that played Spartacus in the first season horribly passed away, and they wouldn't even talk to us about it. They're like, nope, can't touch it, can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then it just we could use other people's images, but we had to get all that stuff approved. We couldn't touch that one. But there's a whole nuance and currents and eddies and everything that and you can have cut people that have the rights to the board game, and people have rights to the tabletop miniature game, and both of them try to find that gray line between the two.
Yeah, it gets a little rough.
It gets tough. It gets really tough.
Yeah. Well, then there's also the idea, like my favorite card game is the Lord of the Rings, the deck builder game. And they just use movie stills, which is one thing. Like
Right.
getting the movie images is one thing versus actually creating your own art in the likeness of the artist in the movie. So yeah, it gets complicated. And no wonder you don't see a lot of things.
Well, the other sort of Damocles hanging over any licensed product is they may pull the license that it's once that license expires, they may pull it.
And again,
got all that time and money invested in, and Battlefront has just gone through that because even though it wasn't a movie property, they were doing the licensed D&D stuff.
yeah,
And then finally they went, no, we'll do that ourselves.
yep.
And they literally did. And it's just it's always
Victor, why do you got to open up those old wounds, buddy? Why? Why?
But yeah, that's another thing you have to worry about at every step of the way. I mean, you can have a great relationship with the people that own the rights to Star Wars and all this other stuff, and then they change management, and then when that license expires, you're out.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it is part of our culture. Games come, games go. And this is just going to be one more of those that's, on the shelf. Maybe they're just going to focus more of their energy on Shatterpoint and
I think I'm not sure if that reach has. Again, I'm so far away, separated from it now. But I think Shatterpoint may have actually number wise and breadth wise, meaning the number of people they got playing it versus that customer base size may be larger than X-Wing. Maybe that's why they're going that route.
Yep.
I don't know.
It could be. Could just be, it could be a lot of things. No one's going to know. We're not in the rooms with
There's so many variables. It's not even funny.
Yes. I did pick something up that I wanted to share with you.
Yes.
So my wife and I were at Joann's. Again, Joann's is a big corporation that's slowly going out of business.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your neighbor down the street.
No. And I found a patch.
Ooh,
A really cool patch, and I wanted to show it to you.
Oh no!
Because that's just the way things are. What do you think?
Hang on a minute. Ooh, that's nice. I'm going to ignore it, but
I found this patch at Joann's, and I was just like, "This is awesome." I was just like, "The best thing ever." So now I need to find something to put it on. Now that I have a patch,
are you sure you don't want to modify it? Maybe borrow some more stuff on it, make it different.
I might. But I just thought that was just cute, so I picked that up. It was
That's
like,
great.
don't drink the paint water.
That's
Um, House of Dragons is out. Did you watch it?
I did.
And what'd you think?
It's Game of Thrones, but a different time period.
Yeah, well, it's setting that backstage, or that backstory, and you're getting all like.
No, I enjoyed it.
It was so long between seasons. I had to rewatch the last couple of shows. Like I didn't need to rewatch the whole season of like it's one of those there's so much.
You watch the last episode or two just to get kind of reason where you're at.
Yeah. I totally forgot the kid his dragon got killed, and I totally forgot all about that part. I was like,
he got munched.
He got munch a crunch, a bunch. So yeah, but I'm digging it. I'm like, all right, we got something good to watch on Sunday nights.
I categorize Game of Thrones and House of Dragons in the category of watching people with power be people with power.
Yeah,
pretty much it.
It's real life stuff.
All right, David, I'm going to spoil it for you. Ready, David? Here it is. It has dragons in it.
Yes, there's a scene or two with dragons in it.
Yeah,
but it's also in the title, House of Dragons. So, but no spoilers to give.
The Game of Thrones. You got to see some thrones. They're all different, but that wasn't big of a spoiler as House of Dragons.
And they didn't play any board games. I was really upset. There was no games being played. Like it says,
there were a lot of games being played. A lot of games being played.
Well, not the kind of games I was expecting. They should have been clearer about that.
There should have been them playing Civilization over there. Maybe some
false advertisement. False advertisement. Yeah, Dave. We won't spoil anything until next week.
Until we have a lot of stuff. We want to get it.
Well, again, it's the start of the new season.
We're going to spoil like the first 5 episodes.
It is the new season, so it's got to build on the ending and blah 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 blah.
It's gotten good.
All that movie magic needs to take place.
I have gotten sucked into a new show that I kept hearing everybody talk about, and it's on FX, which usually does good. It's called The Bear.
Haven't heard it.
It's actually pretty good. It's about a restaurateur.
Oh, that's the guy from
Shameless.
Shameless, yes.
Thank you on Shameless, yeah.
Okay, now it's all
pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So
it seems interesting.
Now, David, are you saying best show ever about The Bear or about House of Dragons?
Or Game of Thrones.
Or Game of Thrones.
Because we went in 3 different directions.
We did. We just went all over the place. He's real excited about it, whatever it happens to be. Or he's watching television. Bear. Oh, Bear. There you go.
Yeah.
Good show.
I have not ventured into that, so.
I'm about 2 episodes into the second season. I binge watched a little bit of it yesterday while I was painting.
Very cool.
Well, I was going to show you guys some. I don't have any picks. I got the picks today.
Okay.
But I was going to show you guys my where I'm at with my my dreadnought.
So how do we want to start? How do we want to approach this? Do we want to do all the photos?
Well, let's do all the photos first, and then I'll switch over to
give you full screen, and you can take a look, and you can show.
Yeah, let's show you guys where I'm at. Cause I'm out of my comfort zone in a big way, and I'm not unhappy with it. So we're heading that way. And then I can also show you my I don't know if he's watching it. We have quite a few people watching. We're at 32 at some point. I'm like, what the heck? If Greg's watching, my arch nemesis. He and I have been he and I were bouncing pictures of we're both working on dreadnoughts, and we're bouncing, work in progress pics back and forth to each other. And he finally goes, dude, I hope you don't think we're playing dueling dreadnoughts. I said, no, dude, we're fine. But Greg is a phenomenal painter, and he's actually one. I mean, I've got 5 guys out in the world that have really inspired me to be better. You're my get out of your comfort zone guy that
I'm your spiritual guide.
You are. The one I hate the most. Every time I go, I ain't doing that. There's a little voice in my head that goes, "Get out of your comfort zone.
Get uncomfortable." That is what it's all about.
I resent you so much for that.
Oh, it's a brotherly. So
That's not true.
I'm okay with it.
I have my camera right in the middle of my
I
monitor.
know, and I'm watching you try to press buttons. Like,
I have
one
to look
thing we are
around and see which
terrible
one's
at is
that.
pressing the buttons.
So there we go.
Look at
Big orky stuff.
getting the undercoat down.
On Discord, this is I think his name is Bubba Yaga, and I don't know why, but I think that's Cliff Headers. It's a guy I know from GW, good guy, scary looking guy, mean guy.
He's got the rock and roller up there.
He does, and he doesn't look much different than that. And he makes me always think like I'm in elementary school and he's coming to take my lunch money.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
And then David is working on some cyberpunk stuff.
Well, I think he's also playing the Cyberpunk Red game, or the
He
Cyberpunk
is. He even
game.
commented that he's going to be there this weekend.
Yes.
So
look at that. He's like they take it to the next level. Or like, we're not even going to put their feet on the base anymore. We're going to make their feet hang over the base.
Yeah, look at that. What a way to convey action. Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that. I'll just ask Dave. David, is that just the base you're using to hold the model while you paint it, or is the model actually jumping off of the base? Because that is pretty extreme.
No spoilers. I don't know what he's doing.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
That's funny.
He's getting ready to. He's getting ready to do his Wile E. Coyote impression.
Okay, he's saying not jumping. So I'm assuming.
Well, he left a peg on the foot, so I'm assuming that's just how he wants. He's got.
Yeah, I think he's doing it for holding the model for painting purposes.
So.
But pretty dramatic.
It looked pretty good though.
More. Oh, look at this.
Ooh, look at that.
Storage containers. You all need them.
Yeah, looking good.
See, because what you can do with those is you can store your dice inside of those, or you can store your bits inside of those and still use them for terrain on your table. So you can double purpose any of those storage boxes that you get for gaming for terrain as storage for other stuff.
Right.
Yeah. But we're giving them ideas. So paintbrushes. Look at all of them.
David does more than paint. He's like all of us. He collects a bunch of stuff.
Well, you know,
I have these brushes.
Yes, and I have the Kolinsky ones or the Sable ones.
Yep.
I am not super impressed with the Sable ones, but that's just a me thing.
I wasn't happy with the wolf bristles. I think I did that now. I think I'm like they weren't as great as I thought they might be. But I do like the fact that I bought them because they're wolf bristles.
Yeah, there's that mystique about them, or that like, oh, these are wolf hair brushes. Like,
yeah.
Mine don't fit. Like, my tips curl on my Sables, and that's the worst, especially when they get wet.
Yeah.
So
this is true.
But yeah, they still work. They're paintbrushes.
More stuff.
Is this I think that's his monthly, and they were pretty cheap. I think that's. David, is this from your monthly subscription stuff, or is this a box set or something? Like, it's just a big pile of gray.
The Fist of Gork.
Fist of Gork. Yes, that's part of his subscription project, the Stormbringer. Very cool.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah, cabbage hair.
There. What I did was I just combined the stuff we had ready for last week and then whatever was on Discord this week. So
I have my cabbage all painted up and put on a shelf in my gaming room, which is nice. Love that model. Good
stuff.
Looks like there's a fight about to take place. This is how I paint my miniatures. Is I do little scenes on my table and play out a little scene, and then I start painting them.
I don't have to be painting to do. I do that all the time. It's like a goblin game. I have my own voices for all the guys.
There you go. Well, you got to talk to yourself while you're painting. Keep yourself entertained.
Thinking about investing in one of those voice synthesizers that makes you sound like you're mechanical. So when I paint my dreadnoughts.
Very cool.
And there's some frames he printed up. Dave is just working his 3D printer like mad.
Yeah, but these frames are different. And I think what David's doing with these frames is phenomenal. These are for a very specific product that I think
we will have pictures of them in use here in a minute.
Okay, then we'll flip over to that.
Ta-da!
So when GW rebranded or remarketed,
They reformatted how White Dwarf looks.
yeah, they did a reboot of White Dwarf. We'll say that. If
Now
you do,
they have, if I'm not mistaken, they have subscriber covers, and then they have it looks different when that goes to retailers. Yeah.
yeah, so this is the subscriber covers have no art, no text.
They're
It's
just
just
artwork.
it's just the art,
Yeah.
and then the ones that go to the store have all the text on them. So you actually kind of get like little art pieces. So David had, I don't know, David, did you create this frame or was this something that you saw and jumped on? But it's obviously designed to hold the magazine so that the pages aren't folding or doing anything, and you can
What
display the art.
what an ingenious way to make people buy 2 copies.
Partially. So David kind of modified something.
Back in the day, I remember playing games with a White Dwarf rolled up in my back pocket, so I had the rules.
Yeah, back in the good old days.
Yeah.
But it's just a nice one because this is changeable. So like you don't have to like it's not a solid piece of art that you're like, okay, I've got this art on my wall for the rest of my life. You just change out the magazine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you can do what David did, which is nope.
I knew you were doing it. Remember, I just have I did last week's, and then I added this week's on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
We'll continue that story later.
No spoilers.
I love the little Captain Kirk duck.
Oh, I do too. I have the Captain Kirk pop figure in the command chair. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yes.
What kid is that, David? Let me know. That's awesome.
Corner designs by me, and backing is actually okay. So he took his organizational grid thing process that he's doing. He put the brackets in.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Yes, there you go. Ta-da. So what a great way to display the magazines instead of like what do we normally do with White Dwarf magazines? They you scan through them, you read the few articles because it's a catch-all magazine for all of their gaming systems, which not everyone like some people play them all, but it's really just it's a lot of advertisement.
There was a time in day that I collected every White Dwarf.
Sure.
And then that came to a sudden halt when I had to move.
It's a lot of weight.
Paper by itself, a page is light. A book piled in with 30 other books get heavy.
Hallmark Christmas decorations.
They look great. They really do look fantastic. And
I think this is a really cool concept, David. I think you really stumbled across an idea that why you get these cool magazines that's art, like it's someone, they paid for it.
Absolutely. Well, I did the same thing with my action figures in the hallway going from my living room to my bedroom. I have all my Babylon 5 nice and organized on the wall, and I have all of my Farscape on the other wall.
Yeah. So very cool, very creative. You could spray paint them to match like the color of the magazine so it blends a little bit better, but if you're changing out the magazine, that would be pointless.
It still looks good. Or they just make them black.
Yeah, just do black.
They look great though, but it's really a nice accoutrement to a game room.
Yeah, I love it.
And one of the things I love about doing stuff like that, it also reflects you and who you are and what you're into, and those are a really great selection across. There's no Spacewell, of course, which means I can't speak to David anymore.
Yeah, well, there's that, but
but other than that, it's a good idea.
Well, and if you're on YouTube like I am, one of the new trends in the YouTube world, there's a company out there, they sell magnetic art, and the idea is you bolt basically a magnet onto your wall, and then you can change out your art. Yeah. Well, shit, this is 10 times better because you're using art you actually want, not what they're producing, and you change out your magazine, so you're not.
I've been doing that with my fridge for decades. Right? I have images on. I do that with my fridge. I just change it out. I just put some new stuff on my grandkids' game around my fridge.
But yeah, I think this is awesome, David.
Yeah, it's great. It really is nice.
I think nice. You probably
very good. Look at that. Look at how he did some serious work to get those all spaced out properly.
I'm going to say there was a laser involved.
Something.
I'm just going to go out on an edge and say there was some kind of got to do the finger quotes.
And the amazing part is Dave looks to me like one of those guys who goes, "Yeah, it looks good."
he said no laser.
That looks really nice.
Yeah, so, and he said no laser. No,
my arch
nemesis. Awesome.
I told you, Dave. Yeah, that should go right there.
Yeah.
This is my
here is the competitor dreadnought.
Yeah.
The competitor. That's what I'm going to call it now. I'm just going to call it the competitor.
The competitor.
The competitor.
He is known as he's Vindictus, I think, because that was a name that that was a name that he earned at Games Workshop that we gave him. He's either Vindictus or Invictus, one of the two. So but because Greg's one of those guys that simmers a plan, doesn't talk about it, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, what the heck?
Where'd that come from? Yeah.
What the heck?
So yes, this is now.
It's a gorgeous dreadnought. He's done a great job.
Is he doing Space Wolves?
No, that is the Revilers.
Okay, Revilers.
That is I can't remember. I think they're a second founding from some of the chapter. If he not my dreadnought. That's his dreadnought. That's my buddy Greg's dreadnought. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous work.
No, I just saw the gray color. That's why I just.
No, I get it. He has I think 3 golden demons.
Yeah.
That was after he had those when I met him in '98.
Yeah.
I've known Greg since '98. He's a great guy and is living in Pittsburgh now. I don't see him as often as I would like, but we try to play Helldivers and we talk quite a bit. So
very cool.
But it's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful.
Love it, just love it.
Yeah. And this symbol here.
Yes.
I know for a fact it's not a decal.
Like, is it 3D or is it hand painted?
I think that one's 3D. I think he had those made up, but it's off of his artwork.
Yeah, very cool. So he's got his own little faction within a faction.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful stuff.
What do you think about the scroll work up top? You think that's decaled?
I don't know.
Oh,
I would say it's well within his capabilities. I don't know. I haven't asked him that question yet.
All right. Well,
I was too busy going.
Because if he's hand painting that's just up the competitor nature in you.
It could be a decal because he's not above using decals because there's one here on this side as well.
Those are pretty intricate.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait. It's probably.
What question?
Greg, right there. That's my buddy. The scroll work on the side, decal, or is that your illustrious handwork?
Yeah. Did you do the scroll work by hand or decals? Oh. So, but we are just gushing over your competitor.
His fourth sense went, someone's talking about my dreadnought.
Now we're total decal. All right. He said decal. All right.
But now, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but your Reviler symbol, that you had those printed up and off of your artwork. Am I correct? Because that looks like it's 3-dimensional add-on.
Yeah.
So we need to know, buddy.
Yeah, we need to know. Now, what I love about Greg's work, which it's just near and dear to my heart, is it's not crushing an orc. So that is my love. No, that's from
Shapeways. He had Shapeways printed up for him.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous. The base is beautiful. It's a gorgeous model. His layering is phenomenal.
Oh, it's not crushing an orc, so I'm in love with it.
That's an orc tombstone right there.
And I don't care about tombstone. They're already dead.
That's an orc right there, sprouting.
They're
sprouting up. New orc coming up.
No.
Good work, buddy. Excellent work.
Oh, there's that laser printed decals of my. Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So I mean, look at all those orcs that are coming up right there.
No. It's not easy being green, man. Come on, it's hard to be green.
Green quite easily. There it is, right there.
No.
Well done, brother. It looks great.
Yes, it looks awesome. Now I believe this is all the cyber stuff. Cyber pumpkin stuff. I'm using that new word.
Just say cyberpunk.
Cyber pumpkin stuff that Joe is working on for probably the demo today, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, you can correct us if we're wrong again. very charismatic miniatures with all kinds of like I'm going 80s style cyberpunk. Um, what move like you watch the old cyberpunk movies and it's not uncommon to see like a football helmet on somebody from back in the 80s post-apocalyptic worlds or cyberpunk worlds and have some of that
He's been watching the I just Shadowrun promo video they made.
there you go. The Easter egg is that the Knotwork are Raven because the Revilers are a second founding Raven Guard successors.
There we go.
There's a story behind every miniature. I love it. Look at that. So we're doing cyberpunky. So Joe, what time's your demo gonna start today? Kind of fill in some of the gaps because I am not 100% on what's going on with that. So love the knife attached to the wrist. Did Joe leave us? Joe.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go. Oh, David's chiming in. So at 10:30 is when the cyberpunk demo is going to start taking place. Very cool stuff. So 10 till 4. Blaine may go later. What's that? Blaine? I'm not saying that name right. That Joe's
Blaine.
Huh?
Blaine.
Oh, that's okay.
The E is silent on the end. It's just to confuse you.
Okay. I'm like, I want to do something with the E. I'm sorry.
Well, I have an account at Battlefront. He's Canadian, but his name is Bjarne, and it's Bjarne, and he actually pronounces it so that but yeah, that E is there to just trick you.
Okay, well, I'm used to that. The cops. Very cool stuff. Digging the background is very fitting for these models. And I don't know anything about the cyberpunk game. I've seen people talking about it on YouTube channels. People seem to be liking it. So
good.
And Joe mentioned earlier in the comment threads that these miniatures or this game is tied into the role-playing game, which is Cyberpunk Red, which is a very smart thing to do so get a demo, Mike. Okay. But it's a kind of a smart thing to do. I think another game that did that was Simon with Zombicide. Is they took Zombicide as the board game and then they created an RPG that allows you to use the components from the board game. So that's smart. Just gives you that dual audience type stuff and hopefully suck people both ways to play their games. Oh, who's that Joker? Now, I don't think the Joker's part of Cyberpunk. Am I wrong in this?
I don't know.
Joe, is the Joker part of Cyberpunk, or is this something for a different game? Because I know you do a bunch of different stuff all at the same time. Very classic Joker look, though.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Very classic. He's a conversion. Okay, very cool. Very cool. That was a whole lot of miniatures you got going on, Joe, but I know you got a lot going on to get ready for a demo. That's always a challenge. And then there's all the terrain. So, got a lot of painting going on.
Yes.
And what else we got? Skellies.
Skellies from Old World. Tim's working on some Skellies.
Joe did eyes. Very cool.
I noticed that.
Tim opened up his wallet and picked up some of the new or old. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know how to really say what they are anymore.
The new Old World stuff.
Yeah, the new Old World stuff. Because these are just the old models, just repackaged and
slapped on washers
and tripled the price.
And slapped on washers.
Yeah. The bases look like they're stone cobble. Those aren't GW bases, obviously. Those are.
I don't know. I don't know that.
I'll be talking to Tim today. I wonder what those bases are because I think those would be perfect for what I'm working on.
Well, there you go.
All right. Thanks for opening my eyes, Tim. Now I got to go buy something else. Thank you very much.
Doesn't feel good, does it?
Yes, it does. Feels great.
Other people spending your money.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I just like to poke the bear.
I know. And sometimes the bear bites, just so you know.
Yeah. You should know.
I know best.
Yeah, there you go. And then these beautiful dice trays.
Yes. I did the Dungeon Saga Origins box set, came with art, and I'm like, I'm not going to hang this art on my wall, but it would make great dice trays. So I made myself one, which is the larger one on the left, because that is the cover art. And then I made one for you to give to your clients.
I'm currently working on a box of those right now.
Yeah, so
he will love that. So
just need to get the time. Just need to know when you want me to send it to you, so I can.
Whenever it's convenient for you, but I'm nowhere near done yet, so I'll give you a heads up when we get
close. Yeah, it's just right now. It's just going to sit on a shelf. So just give me that. Just it's done. So
yeah,
you just need to let me know when you want me to send.
He's gonna like it. I have a lot of. This has been a rough year for me, and I'm behind on my commission. So I've actually bought something for all my regular commission guys. I bought. I didn't buy this. You're doing it for me. I'm sure I'll pay the price for it in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, you're gonna pay.
Oh, I'm gonna pay something. And then I picked up some of the dice bags, like I got at that we got for doing the Tale of Four Warlords on Bill St. Play. So
very cool, very cool.
But I believe
I recently got, so I like Warhammer Quest 1995.
Sure.
I don't like, they try to bring Warhammer Quest back a few different times, a new version of, or a modified version of, but I still fall back to the 95 stuff. There is a guy out there in the market who has been keeping 95 alive and has been reformatting the rule books and the character books, adding new characters to the game, adding new adventures. His name's Little Monk, and he has produced a lot. Like, he's reproduced all the tiles. I purchased all of this stuff from him. He remade the box. He remade a box.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It looks like the original one, but it's all kind of reinterpreted art. Like, it's his art. It's still like the barbarian on the front doing the same pose, but it's not. Right. It's not just a photocopy of the original art. It's kind of reinterpreted, reimagined. I want to get another. I got my box, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Now I want to get another box because I want to make a dice tray just of the cover. That's just how I function, though.
That's just how you are.
That's how my mind works. It's like, I want to get another one just to make a dice tray, which is stupid. But it's just how I function.
Yeah, well, that's just that. In a lot of ways, how you decompress.
Yeah.
So,
and I do like making it. People are like, "Hey, you should sell these." I'm like, "Yeah." Then it's not fun.
Then I have to get them, and that's like commission painting. I love the fact that I get to paint all this different stuff, but I have to. It's like, and with all the as you know from our pre-show conversation, again, my life is a roller coaster of unbelievable crap.
Yes.
So I'm behind on everything. But let me show you guys my work. I didn't take pictures though. I want to show you guys my work.
We're gonna do this live. We're gonna press buttons. Let's see how this goes for us.
Well, I hope it goes well.
Take full. I'll give you full screen.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, I'm hoping there's enough light. I'll bring my light over. But I've been working on a Dreadnought, as you heard me complain about Greg's
gorgeous Dreadnought, the competitor.
Yeah, my arch nemesis Dreadnought.
The competitor.
This is where I'm at with the base for my my Wolfspear Bjorn conversion.
Very nice.
Just a little. Oh, there we go.
You're a little all over the place there.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm at with this guy so far.
I still don't agree with that orc being crushed.
I love that orc there. It's awesome. Kind of sets the whole tone.
Yeah, the wrong tone.
I like it.
It's the Deftones.
But there's
you did some scratching on the black.
Weathering. I got some. Look at that. I got mud on the. That's it. So outside my comfort zone. Scratches.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You know, I got all that stuff there.
I'm loving it. Now you've been sending me photos left and right.
Yes.
Now it looks like you toned down some of the weathering.
I went a little. Well, here's the thing. I do weathering and stuff like that on commissions all the time, and I never
Right.
worry about if it's too much or too little. Okay. I put it on mine, and I did what I always do: is I start, and I go, okay, that's looking all right, and I go too far.
Right.
So what I did was I went back. I even texted Greg on this, and I was like, I think I screwed up my dreadnought. I want to try to fix it. That was the tone of my voice. The text was just a text, but I'm like, I think I messed up. So, but that's where that's at so far.
I'm digging it. I think you toned it down just the right amount. Like there's still some weather in there, but it's not like, oh my God, it's weathered. It's just like if you look at it, it's like, oh, you got some scratches and you got some dirt on the talber or whatever you're calling the cod piece. I don't know what Russ calls his cod piece.
I have no idea. So
look at that.
So there that is so far.
All right.
Then, here's where I'm at with the torso.
Look at that.
I've got pretty much the center, the inside. Now the problem with this 3D printed add-on, normally this comes up and down.
Right.
But between these and this, it doesn't. So this is just going to be glued in place when it's all said and done.
Right. Well,
I did all this work underneath all this.
Right.
And then I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna have it open anyway, so I'm just gonna glue it shut. So
there you go.
That's where that's at, and then the back is pretty much. I just got to weather that up, add some rust, and
yeah. But all those horns are going to be a lot of fun to paint.
I'm going to finish this piece, and then I'm going to do the horns here, and then I'll finish up the rest and do all the other detail work.
So decorated. Yeah. Now, who 3D printed that stuff?
I picked this up from Archie's Forge out of the UK, which is part of the Feral or Primal Wolf series.
All right.
And they
originally printed, or is that a resin pour cast?
No, it's 3D. It's 3D. I'm pretty sure it's 3D printed.
All right.
But that's where that's at. And then when it's all said and done, there's the look of the overall dread.
Look at that.
And then the next step after these two pieces are done, the next step is to do.
You're so far out of your comfort zone on this, buddy.
All of these.
Yeah.
I like to have a weapon option if I want to change out. So I've not only have I've scratch built lightning claw.
Right.
I've scratch built the heavy flamer. Oh, I didn't show you this. I'm using the Brutalis dreadnought for this, and if you know anything about the Brutalis, I got to bring my light over just to add a little bit of light.
Well, it's all black. It's so you can't really see the detail.
Can't really see the detail. Hang on a minute. Let me get my light organized here. So this had these multi-melta that I built it with on it, and I looked at our model. He doesn't have the option for that. So I found these. I went through all my bits, and I found these little sensor windows, little lenses for like sensor. This is basically this targeting array.
Okay.
For the other weapons that I just used the actual hip-mounted weapon mounts and just cut them off, sand them down, and added these little sensors to the front.
Yeah. Small little detail, but very nice.
So that was one of the things that I did to get that, because I realized he doesn't have the multi-meltas. And I don't like I don't like playing models where I have to say they're not WYSIWYG.
Right.
Then I built this, and then I took the Storm Bolter, twin Storm Bolter mounted arm, and cut those off, sanded them down, found this cap, and then added the heavy flamer. So Bjorn has this heavy flamer. And then I scratched with the lightning claw. The lightning claw is where I'm really going to get way outside my comfort zone.
I can't wait to see what you do.
Yeah, it may not work out. I'm not making any promises. The only promise I make, I'm going to try. But I'm going to take bread ties, strip the paper off, so I have a really fine, pliable wire, and I'm going to try to do electricity and lightning crackling across the lightning, these claws, and maybe a couple straight jumping from one to the other. I've never done it before. I've watched so many videos about it now. I can say without a doubt, I'm still as far from an expert on this as I can possibly be. No matter how many videos I watch. But that's the next step. And then I've got the shoulder pads.
Look
So
at
I'm trying to get
those.
knocked. And I've been doing this in the evening after I finished doing my commission stuff for the day.
So you still have more decorations to put on them. This
Yeah, I
is
have the shoulder
awesome.
pads to put on him.
Is it really going to be a dreadnought afterwards, or is it just going to be
It's gonna be a dreaded dreadnought weapon.
dreaded dreadnought?
And then I
The
scratch
double
built.
D.
I scratch built the Hellfrost cannon,
Yeah.
which I think came out pretty nice. But one of the other things I did was let me find it here. I popped magnets because he has the option for the Hellfrost cannon, plasma cannon, an assault cannon, and a multi-melta
Okay.
or melta. I just haven't found the melta piece yet. But I mount magnets in these two little pins here.
Right.
And then I mount magnets here and here so that I can pop all three of these weapons will pop in and out.
So you have flexibility.
Yeah, the only one that I'm bothered with is this thing. It has so much epoxy sculpt. It's heavy.
Right.
And it has a tendency to do this. It won't.
It needs a little Viagra.
Yeah, it needs. So I'm not sure how I'm going to sort that. But the nice thing is, this is on the side where the orc's head is, so I may just extend that down. And I added that in there for you, buddy. Just for you, buddy.
That is wrong.
I'm trying to find a dreadnought melta-gun now that I can convert up, but I've magnetized all that, so that's where I'm at with this project.
So you're gonna have all the accessories.
Yeah, so I can switch out the weapons as I choose fit. But basically, in 10th edition, you can take a named character for a second founding. So like the Space Wolves have Bjorn the Fell-Handed. All I have, I'm just doing a Wolf Spear version of Bjorn is what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm hoping by the time I eventually get done with this, the actual Bjorn replacement will come out. So when I play Bjorn and my Space Wolves, they don't look the same. So that's one thing I'm going for.
Very cool.
Oh, I forgot. I thought I was screen sharing again. I'm like, how do I get out of here?
You got to change your camera. See, this is what happens when you got to press buttons.
Yeah, especially when you haven't pressed them in a while.
Yeah, we're not really good at the button pressing. So,
well,
I've been steadily working on my Dungeon Saga miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a whole slew of skeletons, and I was going to do photos of them all for the show this weekend, but I was like, we didn't do 2 weeks, so let me hold off. So I'll have them ready to go for next week. I just didn't want to, I just know we have a lot of photos. And
I haven't been very keen on posting my work in progress since I did the weathering, because I said, for me, how when I did the weathering, even before I started, I was stressing out. I just have always I started playing 40K back, when the models that were put in White Dwarf were clean, crisp, the lines were smooth, and that's just what I like.
Right.
And so me doing, and now the thing is, I'm starting to like the way his name is Fenrir the Merciless. The way he's looking, I'm going to have to go back to my Wolfspear and kind of give them some muddy boots and a little bit of weathering too.
And that's the challenge, because you're like, I've already painted most of my army. And you call yours comic book style, or
I always call it comic book style or cartoon style.
Yeah. You like those nice clean lines, nice clean shades.
I like it to be. I don't like a lot of over highlighting. Over shading.
Yeah, just nice and subtle.
Not a fan of grimdark.
Nope.
I mean, they look good. I mean, here's the thing. When I say I'm not a fan, what I mean by that is I don't think they look bad. They look gorgeous, and I'd love to own several just to put on a shelf somewhere. Right. But for me personally, I don't want my army to look that way.
Well, that's where I struggle sometimes with like these skeletons I'm painting up. Is a lot of people, that they're usually dark and they're not a lot. You don't have a lot of bright colors in skeletons, because the whole idea of a skeleton warrior is you raise the dead, so they were buried, and it's like you want them to look grungy and dirty, but I also want to add some bright colors and I want to do some things. So it's a challenge, it's a balance.
Yeah, David, that's a feature, not a bug. I'm not sure what you mean by
that. Maybe talking about the drooping of the.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I was curious about it. So
watch the video I posted on Discord. It will break your fear of overweathering your army. Okay,
I'll check it out.
Right.
Yeah, there are some guys out there that go. I mean, they're. That's the other thing. I
was talking about your gun.
Huh?
He was
talking the drooping. That's a whole other medical thing I got to take care of. It's back in the day, again, which was a Tuesday. There was always that balance between painting them well and getting them on the table.
Sure.
Because that's and the difference is now I don't play anywhere near as much as I used to. So that was kind of what pushed me over the edge between you and Dave Taylor, another guy that inspires the crap out of me. Is David, when I said Dave, the work in progress, he said, looks really good. He said, but maybe you should try some weathering. And I know that got that get out of your comfort zone voice in my head. And so I just went ahead and did it. And once I kind of add it to my process, I think I'll get over my apprehension. But yeah, when I first started, I was like, it's not gonna look good. So it's fine. But yeah, there's always that balance act when I started painting, that it was like, you want to paint ones that look good, but you also want to get on the table. And at that point, in that time of my life, I was playing every day.
Right. Well, and as well as I do, like if you're playing every day or even every week, if you're playing your game, your motivation to paint is off the charts.
Yep.
Because now there is that, I want to get this painted, get it on the table because I want to play with painted models, because there's a sense of pride having your models painted on the table and all that good stuff. You really want to do it. But you also want to make them painted. That's why I think one of the things you say the most is a model's never finished. You're just done working on it, or
you just abandoned it. Yeah,
you just abandoned it. So you can always go back and add more paint to a model later. You can always do more things to it. So getting it on the table is important, but you also want to represent your painting style, and you're that way with your tanks as well. Like when we were playing World War II, like Conflict 47 and Bolt Action, you're like, your tanks were clean because you knew back in the day, yes, tanks got muddy during battles and things, but guess what tank crews did when they weren't on the battlefield? They were cleaning their tanks because
well, I was a tanker, and what do tankers do when they're not out doing things? They're washing tanks.
Yes, they were washing, because dirt is the enemy of a tank, especially the cracks and,
absolutely,
and all that kind of stuff. And I see models sometimes where people are just like, and I'm like, a little too much there.
I did discover that working on my own stuff, I use the sponge technique very similar to how I use a brush. And again, that's one thing. I decided when I bought the Artist Opus brushes that I need to practice being more delicate in my application.
Yes.
So I've been watching a lot of videos on how because one of the other things I do is when I'm painting, I want to cover the entire base coat. I want to make sure everything on that is, but that's not really a necessary thing.
Right.
And I've been watching it, and again, just getting out of my comfort zone, trying to be better, trying to get. I mean, I don't ever want to be. Well, that's not right. I aspire to be, a Sam Lenz, that kind of a painter. I know it's never probably going to be accomplished, but just that kind of has added a new excitement to painting for me, because I am trying to get, every model I want to be a little bit better, and also changing up my style and what I normally do just to kind of keep it growing, and so I'm still excited to do it.
Well, you gotta push the limits. I never, again, this is the whole comfort zone thing. I never want to be comfortable with my painting. I think one of the reasons why I'm so excited about speed paints right now is it's opened up this opportunity for me to really throw on some base coats to look at color theory, but then I'm also manipulating the speed paints by using them as like thinning down paints and using them as for wet blending, and I'm using them for different things. It's just kind of opened up some more creativity when I can do those things with regular paints, but it's just harder. And speed paints have just made life a little bit easier, but I'm also trying to, manipulate them and work them into my paint style.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've run some basic painting classes you over at IO all the time, and I did them at Hobby Bench. I did them at my store. And I was thinking about that again. It goes back to I picked up these Artist Opus brushes. One of the things I've always said when I'm teaching people about brush technique, I literally say, "Don't be me. Do it this way," and it's true. And so I found when I bought these brushes, it's time for me to just drop that line saying, "Don't be me." I need to listen to my own advice when I'm giving painting instructions.
Yeah. Well, and just to
So
let you know, because you're going to be at Gen Con, I believe,
I will be. Yeah, it should be Gen Con.
Artist Opus will be there, and they will have a booth, and they will
Ooh.
have all their brushes available for sale.
I'm going to not bring money.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I went crazy at Adepticon. So
Yeah, but when artists, they're going to have their booth there. It's going to be
yeah,
awesome.
I really am impressed with their brushes.
Well, I've got the
And I
dry brush.
really like their brush soap too.
Yeah, I got the dry brush set, and I really like the dry brush set. Granted, I don't think their brushes or anything for the dry brush set is anything exciting. It's just a more coarse hair.
I've always used the chisel style brush
Uh-huh.
for dry brushing. I can't get used to. Well, it's not that I can't. I'm now trying to get used to this style brush,
Yeah, the rounded.
the makeup kind of style brush.
Yeah, and that's what
And
the Artist Opus ones are.
again, this brings out one of my. I don't want to say weaknesses, but one of the things I do differently is with the chisel style brush, with the brush like this, you're a little harder.
Right.
All right, that's my whole thing. I'm a very heavy-handed brush. I use my brush in a very heavy-handed way. These require me to be a lot lighter-handed. And I just going to sound really silly, but my dry brush tray that I made.
Yep.
I've literally sat down with again trying to get my technique a little different. If I just sit and dry brush.
Yep.
And trying to see if I can get a lighter touch. And what the difference is, and believe me, there is a lot of difference dry brushing with this style brush versus this style.
Yep. Well, and the thing with the round brush is if you listen to the instructions, you're supposed to go in a circular motion,
Right?
Which is not how we were trained to brush in the first place. We were, pull towards yourself or pull, don't push, pull. And when you're doing this, it's just like, it takes a little while.
Yeah. And then the other thing is like dry brushing is dry brushing, but actually now there's a lot of people out there that advocate and talk about you want your brush to be wet. I won't use the M word, moist. You want it to be wet, and it's just I've been painting since I was a kid, and I'm still trying to learn and get better and change how I do things, and it just kind of keeps the hobby alive for me.
Well, that's good. That's exciting because, again,
frustrating, but
but we should always be learning and growing and not being set in our ways, because technology is moving, or just the technology in painting has moved so rapidly over the past 5 years, with all kinds of different things coming out and techniques and styles, and the way we consume learning anymore has changed so much, because now you got people like Dave putting out books and teaching, showing off people's art and talking about like his book itself, talking about his painting style, and people are out there teaching this stuff. And you can actually take private lessons from pretty much any famous painter you want. I don't think Dave's doing private lessons, but there are people out there doing private lessons, and you're doing it all through the computer now. So it's like, if I wanted to have Vince Ventura, teach me, I could pay him fees, I'm sure, and he would be more than happy to.
I have a Geraldes video on how to paint. The only problem is it's in Spanish. I have to read the subtitles while I'm doing it, so it makes it a little bit more problematic.
It does make it more problematic, but man, his painting style is
it's fantastic,
just off the charts. So yeah, things have just changed, and it's made life a little bit better. So I'm literally throwing away all my old paints. There's just no reason for me to keep them anymore, because the paints that we have today are 10 times better than the paints we used to have.
Oh, absolutely.
So why am I holding on to paints that are like, well, most of them that I'm throwing away have rusty ball bearings in them. Again, even that little change in life has changed everything.
Well, I've even got to the point that I've actually been sitting here while I'm painting, thinking about next in the fall or in the spring, taking. I've never done art. The only art I've ever taken is high school.
Right.
And I thought about going to school part time and just taking some art classes.
There you
go. Because I've never, and that's just because I just want to get a little better at it, get a little more,
I think one of the best classes I ever took for learning how to paint was from Alan, Gorilla with a Brush, on his class about paint theory.
Oh God, yeah, it's great. It's a great class.
just
And the thing
teaching.
is, he's done that at the store a couple times, and
Yep.
I've always had to go do other things and couldn't take it. So yeah,
But no,
I
I'm
know
just
it's a good
teaching.
class. Different people talk about it. So.
Well, we're teaching about the biology of the eyes and how the cones and why certain colors are so jarring and why other people it's not as jarring. Like we're all built differently. So, but just teaching about color theory and understanding how colors work. And the one thing that I still sticks with me today is you always want to pick one point on a model to really highlight contrast and make that the focal point of the model, and everything else around it is going to tone down, and you want people's eyes to draw to that one piece of attention. That's where you want to focus most of everything on and then move around from there. So
yeah, there we go.
good stuff. Anyways,
educational.
Well, I don't know. It's just years of experience. We're old dogs in this rodeo, and we've learned a thing or two over the years, and
still learning. That's I think that's the thing I really try to convey to people, that I've been painting forever, and I never aspired to be anything more than just the guy that plays tabletop games and paints miniatures. But I always wanted my army to go on the table.
Yeah,
and it's just getting out of that, getting down the road, and just getting better. And now that I'm painting more than I play, I wanna kind of take advantage of that and get better.
Well, and just like my paint, I don't paint like I used to. I used to be able to sit at my painting desk and paint for hours on end.
Right.
I would just have music playing, and I just can't do that anymore.
Right.
Life has changed and everything, but now what I do is in the morning time before I go to work, I get 10-15 minutes to just sit down and really focus on hitting a few models, getting some paint on a few models. And yeah, this month I might only get 15 models painted, but I'm still doing it every day. So I'm keeping my brush control in check, and doing just some little painting projects just to keep me in that motion of always painting and always, staying on top of the things that I've learned over the years. And again, playing around with some of this new stuff that we have to play around with.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, I still try to paint every day. Like to me, that's important. To at least get 5-10 minutes in every day. It's the 5-minute rule.
No, that's absolutely correct. I do the same thing. I get up, and after I get everything ready to go into Battlefront, I'll paint for an hour before I hop on the bike and head to Northeast.
And we've talked about this before. As long as you stay focused on a project and you're working on it steadily, eventually you'll start seeing that progress, because nothing is more overwhelming. There's a pile of gray behind me for Conquest that is like overwhelming of things that I need to paint, but it's like
that is just the penance for the hobby.
Yeah. Well, and again, I'm doing this for Death Wizard, all these skeletons. This is for a little solo game that I want to get on the table right away. So I think next
I get it.
Be that big pile of gray behind me. I can't wait to paint the dinosaurs, because they're dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So I can't wait to see them.
All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna go ahead and skedaddle out of here. Again, I'll be heading over to the shop. Be there probably.
Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go in and check it out. There's only one thing I'm really after for the freebie stuff, and that's the Dragonbane adventure, because I really do like that game. But if it don't happen, it don't happen. It's not the end of the world in my life. I just want to go check it out, see what's going on, and then Tim and I are going to go grab a bite to eat.
Awesome.
Go have something to eat, and then I gotta come home. Andy's going to play bingo tonight. I guess a bunch of people from work are going to go play bingo. I think that's why I'm getting to go do my thing, because she's going to go out with her friends this evening.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm having a good time, but I really do.
So yeah, I just want to go check it out and just see. I know Darren got a huge restock of Alliance in.
Oh God, yeah.
That was like a Christmas restock level of Alliance. So there's been some things that have been on my radar that I'm like, oh, it's not in right now. Oh, maybe.
Well, I also got there's several new Bandai kits that are into.
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, so lots of good stuff. All right. Well, everybody, thank you all very much for hanging out with us and chatting. We will be back next weekend.
Internet allowing.
Yes, internet allowing, we'll be back next weekend, and we'll all talk to you later. So bye.
See ya.